Save your money and buy a lipstick instead. Hi, I hope you're all well. If you're new around here, hello, it is lovely to meet you, and if you are returning, thank you very fucking much for coming back. My name is Alanna, I'm a 36-year-old lady living in Scotland, and on this channel we predominantly talk all things beauty, hair care, skincare, lifestyle, travel, bloggery, vloggery, bullshit, but with a liberal sprinkling of sarcasm and some might say cynicism thrown in on top. And real talk, just in regards to my last video. So just because I'm on here talking about makeup doesn't mean to say I don't have views and opinions on other more serious matters, to the person that commented and told me to stick to makeup. Anyway, if you don't know me already, I do have a bit of a foul mouth. I like the odd sweary word, and if you're not into that kind of thing or this kind of thing, then that's absolutely fine. Please feel free to vacate at any point. But if it does sound like your cup of tea, there's a subscription button in the corner. Give it a wee thumbs up, all that other YouTuber crap. Now, this video is going to be a Vieve overview of the brand. I own quite a lot of products from Vieve, and we're going to talk about each one individually. I'm going to gently touch on kind of the stuff that I don't own and why I don't own it to start. But like I say, I've got quite the collection. I think I own the majority of the products that they now stock. Now, I also have Vieve on today. All of the makeup on my face is Vieve. The eyeshadow, the lipstick, skincare. Skincare, I mean base, you know what I'm trying to fucking say. Anyway, so if that sounds like your kind of thing and you want to hear more about Vieve and potential dupes for some of this stuff, then just keep on watching. I've just washed my hair today, so it's straight as a die. As I say, I've done my fringy bit, but I couldn't be bothered curling it, so it is what it is. You've got what you've got. It is also really, really autumnal and wintry now here in Scotland. I feel it's been raining for days, and I'm all cosy in my wee cardigan with my coffee. So just get yourself nice and cozy because it's that time of year, and this is probably going to be a long video. If you know me by now, I do like a ramble. Also, if you've noticed, I have yet another cold. What is it with 18-month-year-olds and they just bring you everything to share? And I have yet another cold. Just like, fuck me. I only got rid of the other one about 10 days ago and already I'm now sounding like Lauren Bacall again, but it is what it is. I'm really sorry. I actually feel okay. I actually feel fine. I sound much worse than I feel, but Jesus Christ, Jack, it would just be nice to keep some of those germs every now and again. So first of all, as I said, let's touch on some of the items that I don't own. I'm just looking at my phone here to check out if there's anything I've forgotten. The first one I was going to talk about, actually, I'll just stick a photo here, is the bronzer. And the reason I was going to talk about it is because it's fresh in my mind because they just won an award for it. Now, this is a cream bronzer. It kind of has my name written all over it. However, the reason that I never ever picked this up was because I felt like the colours that I could see like on photos and on the site and all that kind of stuff, they were just a little off and I wasn't sure what one I was going to be going with. So back in July when I was in London, I went to see it in person in Harrods. They now have it in the Space NK in Glasgow as well. They've launched here, I think maybe last month or something, which is quite exciting. So I just feel like the range, the colour range in this product is kind of poor. Again, see if you're going to be one of these stans for Jamie Genevieve and be down in the comments being like, you have no clue what you're talking about, because when I spoke about the brushes ages ago, I said I thought they were overpriced. I'm going to get into the brushes as well because I own 2 of them. And I have to say, if you're going to come on and start attacking me because I don't like a product and I'm just telling you my reasons as to why I wouldn't buy it, just fucking back down, just take a seat. Take a seat, we're allowed different opinions and that is all right. I am not saying this is a bad product, clearly I do not own it. However, I do think the colour range is pretty poor, I have to say it. Considering that their concealer, when they came out with that, had a really, really wide array of colours, 4 colours within the colour range, I found quite disappointing. However, I do think they vary enough that probably majority of skin tones will be able to use them. However, I am someone who's peely wally white, as you can see, so I don't really have much to go on. If you are someone who is much darker than me, much more olive toned than me, has more yellow tones in their skin, then maybe you will think differently. But as I said, I went to see them in real life, and I'm not saying that the quality of the product isn't there. For me, the tone is not there for my skin tone. Now, I did see my friend Kat use the light one, which is the lightest version, and she managed to blend, I say managed, she done it very easily. She managed to use it, it looked very nice. Although, I find it is just a little too cool toned for my skin type. And for somebody who doesn't like to wear a lot of base all the time, it's usually maybe just the bronzer and a little concealer I'm putting on. I just thought that the greyish colour of it would make me look a little dead. It was more like a contour than a bronzer. And as I say, when I seen Kat use it, I was like, actually, do you know what? Maybe I've been too quick to judge. The next one up, which is the medium, I feel is so yellow. It is just, I put them both on my arm at a point. I don't even know if I've still got the photo. If I do, I will stick it up here. I'm really sorry if I don't. But the colour is so yellow. I was like, that's not going to work for me. And funnily enough, like I can get away with a slightly warmer bronzer, slightly deeper bronzer because I've got dark features. If you're somebody who is like, you know, red-headed, like naturally, not dyed, like if you've got red hair and very, very pale skin tones, I just can't see any of these bronzers working. If anybody does have red hair out there and they've used them, please let me know which one you use because I would be really interested. But I just wanted to let you know why I didn't buy it, because it's clearly just won an award from Glamour for being a product of the year. So I'm not saying it is a bad product, but for me, I just think this range needs to be expanded on a little bit, and that's why I've never picked it up. Now, just while I'm in the little base section of Vieve, I also don't own the powder. The reason I don't own the powder, again, is just because I'm not a powder gal. It ain't my thing. I have Glossy Wowder, and I think I've got a miniature of the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless powder or something like that. Oh, I've got really itchy nose, sorry. Oh, you know that way when you know you've got makeup on and you think, I don't want to scratch it because I'm just ruin everything. But also, side of my nose was really itchy there. Anyway, so it is the Modern Powder Perfector, which is just straight up a powder. Now again, I think the colour range in this product equally, it's not great, is it? It isn't great, and it's a difficult one because I think everybody has such a good parasocial relationship with Jamie Genevieve. She's so likeable, she's such a lovely person. It's just like you feel like you know who she is, and I've met her in person as well, and she's lovely. What a lovely girl she is. She literally lives in my neighbourhood as well, but I just think like she's one of us. Especially when you're from Glasgow and Scotland and you just think, oh, she's just the girl next door. Like, of course she's very glamorous. She has a very fancy lifestyle, but she doesn't come across that way. And I think because we have that parasocial relationship with her, I haven't seen any discredit, that's not the word I've just not seen any kind of badness towards the brand with regards to the colour ranges. And I think it's because in the marketing of the brand, they always make sure to use really diverse models. They've got lots of different skin tones. But I still think the colour ranges could really be expanded on. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn here. If you are somebody with deeper skin tones, again, please comment down below and give me your thoughts, because I feel like it's a brand that we almost give her the benefit of the doubt, or we give the brand the benefit of the doubt because we love Jamie. And I'm a little bit like, if that was another brand, they would get slated for only having 4 bronzers or only 4 colours of a powder, because there are so many different skin tones and we don't really talk about it with Vieve. So I'm just saying, I think that the colour range in the powders could be expanded as well. However, I ain't a powder gal, as I said, so I probably wouldn't be picking it up anyway. Now moving on to eyeshadows, I clearly do own eyeshadows from Vieve, but I'm going to specifically talk about the little quads. I can't remember what they're called. Hold on, I'll tell you. The Solo Shadows, that's it. Funnily enough, is that Solo? No, Solo Shadows is Merit. I just thought they got the same name. Soul Shadows. Now, these come in 4 different colourways. There's like a black one, which is called Noir. There's like a pinky one called Lure. What is the other one called? The kind of more neutral tones is called Terra, and the orangey one is called Burn. Now, when these first launched, I was like, hello, because I already owned the Essentials palette, which is the very first palette they came out with. It's very warm toned, and I thought, oh, I would like to have like another little compact to add to that, to just mix it up a little bit. However, I have never picked one up. When they launched, I was like, okay, Burn is clearly speaking to my soul. It is the colours that I love. But with the Essentials palette, I feel like there is enough warmth in that I just don't need Burn. And I think Burn definitely has much more orangey, brighter tones. What is the one in the palette called? Oh God, Chow, I want to say. Hold on, let me open it. No, Cozy. Cozy it's called. The mustardy coloured is called Chow. So I feel like this palette already offers a lot of what Burn would give to me. I also feel like Burn, the 2 oranges are so similar. I just don't think you need those 2 oranges next to each other. The other one that kind of took my eye, because it is that beautiful kind of black smoky eye, grungy, a little bit rock and roll, a little bit 90s, and a little bit kind of goth, let's face it. However, I never ever picked it up because, again, the two shades at the bottom, like the kind of brown and the black, there's two shades like that in the Essentials palette. Of course, there's a more silvery tone one, which is very similar to her 90s palette. It's a lot more cool toned, which are not colours I wear that often. So mentally, I was like, you absolutely don't need this. The pink one, the kind of Lure, just isn't my street. It's just not my road. I'm not walking on it. I'm not that into pink tones. I might wear nice pops of pink and things, but that kind of nice romanticised rosy gold, I just don't wear it that often. I just feel like it gets a little lost in my eyes. It doesn't do too much for me. Now, if I wear it and I like it, like people might say to me, oh, your eyeshadow's really nice, but it's not what I gravitate towards. And the other one, Terra, again, I just feel like the shades in there, they're kind of in the Essentials palette. If you're going to ask me, I'm going to say the Essentials palette is the one to buy, but that's just my personal opinion. But that is why I've never picked any of them up. And again, it's not because the product is bad. I think their eyeshadows are very nice, actually. I just don't need them. If you don't own any of the big palettes and you're someone who's like, I don't need a big palette, and you like one of those, then go for it. Absolutely go for it. But I just feel like, especially if you own more than one of the big palettes, if you already own like the Essentials and the 90, like, you are not needing any of these smaller palettes. Even for travel, get a grip of yourself. It's not needed. It really isn't. I'm sorry. But I like them and I think they're very beautiful. I think the packaging is lovely. I just don't need them. Now, another thing that I was going to touch on was like their brandables. Is that what merchandise? Merchandise, that's probably the word I'm looking for. With regards to their kind of sweatshirts, stuff like that. The t-shirts I never got my hands on. I would have died to have had a t-shirt. I would have absolutely wore it all the time because I really, really like a white t-shirt. However, the merchandising side of thing, I actually really, really like the sweatshirt I've got. I've got the original one, the Joie de Vive, and I think it's really, really good quality. I've really enjoyed it. It is very oversized, just be aware of that. I bought mine, I want to say in a medium, when I was pregnant. I think I was 15 or 16 weeks pregnant at the time. And even now, like, I would say that is much more of a large to extra large. They are very oversized. So if you are a smaller person, then definitely size down. But if you love that oversized look, then they are very oversized. I love it. I really do enjoy my sweatshirt. I think it's worth the money. I wear it pretty much every other day. I was going to wear it for this video, but Jack kind of spilt something down it, so it's in the washing basket today. I'm actually kind of gutted about that. I almost thought about pulling it out, and then I thought, no, because it'll just have a big fucking slabber down at ALANNA, so stop. The other little things like the hair clips, are these still online? Are these still available? Let's just put them in for you. So I actually love that they hold the style of my fringe in place now when it sets, when it's drying. But that's them there. What do I think about these? I mean, you can buy these 10 a penny in Primark, can't you? Like plastic ones, nonetheless. But I have to say, I do like these. I use them quite a lot. They're very, very durable. I think they're really, really nice quality. And I am aware that I can buy something like this in Primark. I actually do have pink ones from Primark that I had before I had these. But these are nice. They're very nice. So if you're wanting to buy some merchandise, I would say go ahead and do so. I think so far the quality is good. What I am going to talk about though is the makeup bags and the mirrors and stuff like that. I'm kind of like, just save your money. I wouldn't spend the money there. I have seen them in real life. I've seen friends who own them as well. And personally, I don't think they're great quality with regards to the makeup bags and the mirrors and things like that. I think just get yourself a nice mirror from Boots or even online, Amazon, whatever you want. And I think as well, with regards to the makeup bags, you can get makeup bags like that. Of course, you can get the Space NK ones, which are still kind of pricey, but they are better quality. But you can also get very, very, very similar ones to that without the little Vieve gold emblem on it and accessorise for 15 quid. And they're very good quality, very, very good quality. So I'm just like, I could give or take the makeup bags. To me, I just don't think that's where I want to spend my money on the brand. Sweatshirts, clothing, good. The little like hair clip things, nice. But not where I want to spend my money on the brand is the handbags and the mirror and all that. I don't think they're good quality. I just don't. If you own them, again, please don't fucking take offence because I'm saying that. But I have seen them in real life and I think there are better quality on the market for less price. Just because it's got a Vieve badge on it, that's all I'm saying. Save your money and buy a lipstick instead. Alright, so I'm just going to go through products as they are on my face. I'm going to start off with like base stuff first and we'll just work our way through it, talk about all of them, and I'll also give you little dupes and stuff like that as well from other brands if I think there are similarities. So we're going to start off with the Vieve Skin Nova. As you can see, mine's is nearly done. This is the only one I've ever owned. Reason being, I don't really like it. Again, no, this is not a negative video of Vieve. I wouldn't own so many products from Vieve if I didn't like the brand, and I think they have so many lovely products. But if you know me, if you're a long time watcher, I am not gonna like bow down to a brand and be like, everything they bring out is fantastic. Because it ain't fucking possible. Even if it's just because it's like a textural thing you're not into, because it doesn't work on your skin type, that kind of stuff. It's just not the look you like. If a brand was bringing out like all matte stuff, I probably wouldn't be going for that brand. I'd be going for the one that's a little bit more dewy. That's my bag. So I don't think that we can just like jump on a train and be like, everything Vieve brings out is fantastic. People rave about this stuff. I have lots of friends who adore it and love it. Ladies who are older than myself, more mature skin types, who think it is amazing. I have normal leaning to dry skin, especially as this time of year, as we're coming into autumn and winter, it gets much drier, much peelier, much flakier. And I still think this is like, I could give or take it. It is not a bad product. I am not saying that I tried it and I thought, oh my God, this is fucking horrible. Not at all. Quite the opposite. It was more like I put it on and I was like, what did it do? Like, I genuinely don't think it done anything. So this kind of got thrown at the back where I've got some other primers and stuff like that and wasn't used for a while. I popped it in my bag this week for going to work because I thought, well, it's quite a nice one. Like, if you've already put your skincare on and then I drive to work and then I put a little bit of something on my face, that little gap in between, it's a nice little refresher before you put any makeup on the top. So I'll give it that. But I put it in my bag to remind myself of why I wasn't enamored with it, why I just was like, meh. And yeah, I feel the same. I really do feel the same. I feel like there are other products on the market that do very similar to this. I'm thinking of maybe, is it the L'Oreal Skin Paradise or the L'Oreal Mon Cherie, which is a slightly peachy undertone to it. However, this one, like, I've seen people saying like, oh, this gives a nice gold radiance to the skin. Let me just show you it on the back of my hand there. Gives a nice gold sheen and radiance. See when I blend this onto my skin, I don't see no gold, like, and I've got quite peely wally white skin, so gold would usually be something that would turn out quite yellow. I feel like, yeah, it gives you a little bit of radiance, so as soon as I put this on, remember as well, it's already kind of wet, so you might see a sheen there, but it's so fucking subtle. It's super duper subtle. I do think this might have some skincare ingredients in it. I can't remember exactly. I suppose I should go into the site and check for you, shouldn't I? Just before I'm totally saying this and it's a load of nonsense. Face primer, Skin Nova. Makeup skincare hybrid enriched with skin loving ingredients that hydrates, primes and illuminates. Enriched with beta glucan and niacinamide. So anyway, I just feel like as if I could give or take it. I already used those skincare ingredients in my, well, not the beta gluconate, but I use niacinamide, and I usually use niacinamide at night as well, but I just could give or take it. I just don't, they sell this in extra large now. That's how good a selling product it was. So this is very much my own opinion, but I just don't think, it does that much. Like, there's maybe a little bit of a sheen on the back of my hand there. This one maybe looks a little bit more matte, but honestly, do I think there's that much of a difference? Especially when I'm looking down at it in real life. This has got a slight sheen to it, but I'm just like, no. I can get ones that cost maybe £9 that do the same thing, maybe a little more sheeny. Maybe it's just because I like that look on my skin. I would leave it. That's my opinion. That's what I'm going to say. I won't pick up a full size. Now, moving on to the powder bronzers, because we're doing base first, aren't we? I love them. I fucking love them. Now, I'm talking about the cream one, which again is so much more up my street. I am a cream product kind of girl, but these are fucking good. These are really good. And I even remember at the time when they launched the brand and then they brought the bronzers out. They launched the brand with the eyeshadows, the blushes, the lipstick, stuff like that. I think the bronzers came just a little bit after. Now, the packaging and the components of the bronzers is so much better than that of the blushes. Doesn't mean to say the blush is bad, but the blush is in like a kind of cardboard component with a mirror in it. You can see it here. Whereas the bronzers are in this kind of more robust, like plastic packet, which you can pop the bronzers in and out of and actually swap these out. You cannot do that with the blushes. So from a packaging standpoint, all that kind of thing, these are much better than the blushers. And even the eyeshadow palette. The eyeshadow palette is in the original kind of cardboardy packaging. They're fine, like I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But these are just so much nicer. And given the luxe feeling of the brand, it'll be interesting to see if these packages will then become this. Because the new Soul shadows are definitely in a packaging that's much more akin to this than the original stuff. Now, actually talking about the powder bronzers, there is a very, very, very slight bit of shimmer to them. Ever so slightly. I can't remember, are they called Modern Matte? No, just Modern Bronzer. So there definitely is a slight luminescence to them. It is not terrible. It's not like you're wearing like stripy glowing highlight on your face. Not at all. Now you can see there, like I've fucking made my way through. That is light 1 right there. All round bronzer, love it, fantastic. It is what I've got on today because I don't really have a tan or anything at the moment. However, I've spoke about this before as well. If you are new, let's do it again. So I have 2 compacts and I bought the light one and the medium one. Now they have 2 shades in each. Can I just show you on the back first? Here we go. As you can probably see here, it says light 1 and light 2. Now because they are pop outable, what I done was put light 1 and medium 2 together because these tones suit my skin much better. This one all year round, this one in the summer because I do actually take a tan even though I look like a vampire. I take a decent tan, so this suits me much better. This is light 2 and this is medium 1. Now there's not too much of a difference here and sometimes I will still dip into light 2. But medium 1, that's this one here, is very, very yellow orange toned and this just does not work on me at all. This is also something that I brought up before when I've been talking about Vieve, even right at the start when I was talking about when the bronzers launched. I loved this idea that you could pop them out the back. However, when I went to the pop-up shop, there's been a pop-up shop twice, 2 years in a row here. The first time I went, I don't think the bronzers were available, maybe. The second time I went, they had the bronzers. And what I wanted to do was buy a replacement light 1. Because they sell the pans individually, however, they sell them as light 1 and 2. You can't just buy light 1 on its own. You need to buy light 2. And if you see here, I've barely used light 2, so I don't want another light 2. And that kind of annoys me. I just wish like the brand as a whole, like even if you were just using the light palette, as I say, this is medium, just forget that for a second. If this was the light palette and you've panned this one and this one you've not touched, why would you need another 2? Why do they not sell these individually? It's fucking mental. Also, why on earth, because this is such a good idea, do they not make the blushers available to also be pop-outable so you could just slot that in next to that? Because for travel, fucking genius. Come on, just put me on your marketing team. Come on, whatever it is, I don't know. Not production, is that what you would call it? These need to be available to pop in and out. And they need to be available to buy individually. Because it is fucking pointless to be buying 2 when you only need 1. Just fucking madness. And it's a shame because I think it's a beautiful bronzer. I love it. I've clearly panned it. I use it all the time. I think they are so, so good. I would highly recommend them, especially if you want something that does feel that it looks a little bit more high end. This is the product. It's so, so good. But why? Why do they do it that way? It's obviously to make more money. I'm aware of that. But it's also very wasteful, which kind of counteracts the point of being like, these are pop-outable, so you don't have to buy a whole new compact. You're still going to waste something if you're having to buy a product that you seriously don't need. So please, Vieve, not that I'm thinking you're watching this video, but somebody over there in the production part of things, whoever's doing the marketing and components, whatever it is you do, fucking sell them individually. It would just make so much more sense. And please, make these the same. I just thought there as well, like I went through all the things I don't have. They do have a quad that has like bronzer, highlight and blush in it. It's like a little quad 4 thing and it's all for your face. I also don't own that. Again, reason I don't own that is because I already have quite a lot of base products from them and none of them, like the colours really sung to me. I just was like, I would rather take like this one individually and a blush individually than the little quad altogether because the quad just didn't speak to me as much. I just prefer this. Talking about quality of the actual powders though, and that's why I can't say that the powder that I don't own, just the setting powder type stuff, isn't good because the bronzer powder is great, the blush powder is also great, love it, So the quality of the products are really, really nice. So let's move on to blusher. Now today, I am actually wearing this one, which is Malbec, which is a very, very, very deep, like wine colour. And on my skin, you think it would look kind of frightful. What I am going to say is you need to be very, very light-handed with this. And you can tell because this one still has the embossing on it. I'm hoping you will see that there. Like there's still a little ridges on it that it came with. It's because I don't need to like swirl in this blusher. It is so pigmented. The one that I originally bought was Sorbet, and this is this gorgeous kind of pinky, but very much leaning to coral. It's warm. It's not like a Barbie pink. I think they have Cherub as well, which is much more of that like true blue toned pink. This one, however, has the gorgeous like undertone of peach and nice warm corally tones. I really, really like it. What I will also say is, and don't quote me on this one, I'm not absolutely sure, because you can see here, the embossing on this one is completely gone. I have swirled and swirled in this one, and it's not because this one isn't as pigmented, it's just it's not as dark, so you can get away with a bit more swirling in this, and I have done that with this, whereas you can see the embossing and the little ridges are definitely still there on this one. As I said, don't quote me here, don't take it verbatim, but I feel like there's a sheen and a shimmer to this one that gives a glow. It's got a little bit of an element of that Charlotte Tilbury, the duo blushes, like the one that looks like a big nipple. What are they called again? Cheek to Chic. But they've got a little bit of glow and a little bit of colour. Even NARS Orgasm, that kind of similar kind of, there's a little glow there as well as colour. I would say that Sorbet has that. I do not think Malbec does, but maybe that's because I use it so lightly and so sparingly that I've not noticed. So maybe they're not all the same makeup. I feel like this one definitely I would say has a little bit of a shimmer and a sheen. This to me is matte, but don't quote me on that because again, if you're somebody who uses this quite religiously, you might notice better than me. As I have said, I have to use it with a very light hand. Again, I think these blushes are fantastic. They are really, really beautiful blushes. They blend beautifully. The colour is fantastic. I have just remembered also I've not spoken about the cream blushes that I don't own. We'll come back to that as well. Oh, this video is going to be ages. But as I said a minute ago, I do wish that they would kind of upgrade the packaging on this. Would it change the price point though? That's something to think about as well. The packaging is absolutely fine, like it is nice, but to give it that brand luxe that they have of the other stuff now, I do wonder if it will move forward and we will see these packaged the same way. And I would love it if we could pop these out and put them in the same compacts. Just sell the compact individually, let people pick a bronzer and a blusher that they like, even a highlight if you're bringing out like the highlights too. Oh, I did own the highlight too. God, this video's a mess now, isn't it? The powder highlighters that came out when the blushes came out when they first launched, I did own one of them as well, but it was just too frosty, too much colour rather than sheen, and I ended up passing it on to someone else who had a deeper skin tone than me. It just didn't work on my skin tone. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put my first impressions video up here so you can go and check that out if you want to. But I have also tried the powder highlighters as well. It's funny because the cream highlighter that I'll go on to next, I absolutely love, but I don't own, as I say, the cream bronzer, and I don't own the cream blushes from them either. The reason I didn't buy any of the cream blushes, because I fucking love a cream blush, is because I just wasn't, again, won over by any of the colours. I own lots of very similar shades to that. Again, not saying the product is bad, I just didn't feel the need to own it because I have so many liquid and cream blushers. I just was like, I really don't need this product. I have went on to buy other cream blushers from other companies, but the Vieve one, I was just like, not that fast. Not that fast. All the kind of like videos and the reels and all the stuff on the Vieve site as well, I just was like, yeah, it's pretty, but I like a high impact, high colour blush. I love that. Today, obviously, I've got on that kind of more wine toned one and it's pared down, but I do love a really impactful blush, and I feel like when you see the cream blushes or the liquid blushes from Vieve, they're definitely a lot more subtle, and I thought I own stuff like that, I don't need it, so that was the reason I never picked them up. But talking about the highlighter, this is the Skin Dew. Now it's a glow multitasker, so let's not say it's highlight, but it is definitely what I've got on my face today. I love this stuff. I love it. And again, I think this is going to be one of these products that divides the crowd. I think you're either really going to enjoy it or you're going to hate it. Reason being, I've seen some people explain this as sticky, the texture being sticky. I understand where they're coming from. It definitely has a little tack to it. that really doesn't bother me. Even having long hair and stuff like that, it really doesn't faze me. I don't want it to be like lip gloss on my skin, obviously. Nothing worse when your hair goes in your fucking lip gloss and all that kind of stuff. I don't find it's that bad. I don't find it as that tacky. But if you are someone who prefers like a much more kind of cream to powder, or you just prefer a powder highlight, then maybe you wouldn't like this. Another cream highlight that I'm absolutely loving at the moment is the Merit one. That's called the Day Glow Balm, I think. That is much more, I would say, slippy. It's got more of like an oil-like texture to it. So I feel like when you pat that on, again, it's not sticky. It's got the glow, it's got the sheen, but it's not sticky. This definitely has a bit of tack. So I'm not going to lie about that. It definitely has a little bit of tack to it. But I love the effect it gives. I love it so much. It doesn't really bother me that there's ever so slightly a little tack there. I have drier skin, and so this just works really well on my skin. I really, really like it. You can obviously put this across like the décolletage, up on your eyebrow bone, down your arms, down your legs, wherever you fucking want to. I think they sell this in XL as well now. And yeah, I get what people are saying about the tack. However, I just fucking love it. I think it's so nice. I was looking to see what I could tell you was dupes for this. And I have to be honest with you, I just don't think there's anything else like this on the market. Not exactly. Of course there are liquid highlighters. Of course there are like... I'm having a coughing fit here, I'm sorry. But there's just none quite like this. And actually, I prefer the Merit one because it is a little less tacky but gives the same effect. So I'm not saying like this is my favourite now, but I don't think there's anything like this on the market. With regards to the bronzers and the blushes, by the way, having a similar kind of thing on the market or something a little bit more affordable, what I would say is that there are probably similar ones on the kind of more budget. Sorry if you can't hear, I've just had a coughing fit. Voice is totally went now. So I feel like there are ones that are probably quite similar, but I'm going to say like the Physicians Formula one is quite similar in the sense to the powder. Listen to this voice. Similar in the sense that they have that very slight sheen to them, but they're not super duper like shimmery. But I don't think they have the same refined kind of colour to them. I think that the Physicians Formula one definitely has that slight more yellow tone to it, but I really like the Physicians Formula bronzer. I think it's really, really nice. And as for the powder blushes, there are loads of really pigmented powder blushes on the market. Like I say, the NARS one is probably not that dissimilar to Sorbet. And there's loads of dupes of the NARS one in a more budget realm. I think that blusher and things like that are easier to find in a more budget realm for dupes for things like Vieve. They maybe don't have quite as nice packaging, but for actual formula, I would say you can probably get them. However, I feel the staying power of the Vieve ones is second to none. I think that I could put it on at the start of the day and the majority of the day it's going to still be there later. But I just don't think there's anything to dupe this, whether it's high end or budget realm. I just think this stands alone and it's very, very different and I really, really like it. Now finally, for kind of base and skincare stuff, I have the Modern Radiance Concealer. I have this in Light 3. Now they do have a shade finder, I want to say, on the site. I put in Glossier G11, but I also put in Glossier G10 to find out because that is the two that I wear regularly and they're two of my favourite concealer, well, two colours of my favourite concealer. Now, when I put in G11, it told me to use Light 2, and when I put in G10, it told me to use Light 4. Light 4 is the shade that Jamie wears, and I would say Jamie is much more tan than me. I know she self-tans, but she has much more tan skin than I do. And I remember, like, I was in the pop-up shop and I asked one of the lovely girls and I was like, listen, I was like, I don't think I'm shade 4. I was like, look at me. But shade 2 was really, really light. So I opted to go in the middle and go with Light 3. However, I have to say this is still a little yellow on me, just ever so slightly. I've got it on today and it looks absolutely fine, but if I could go back, I would probably go with Light 2. However, I probably wouldn't repurchase this. There is nothing wrong with this. I think it's a very, very nice concealer, and for somebody who has normal leaning to dry skin, it's actually very wearable. I don't like heavy concealers, this kind of classic doe foot heavy coverage concealer. However, this concealer is quite good in the way that it can be worn as a little bit of a concealer come foundation situation. So if I'm looking for a little bit more coverage, a little bit more like I'm going somewhere out, somewhere nice, then I will spread this out around about the areas that I want to be brighter. I will leave it here. I never put anything like that on the outside. and then contour with my bronzer and my blush and stuff like that. And I think it works really well. I don't find like it clings to bits. I think it works very well considering it is this kind of more liquid type of concealer, and I do think it's very nice. I just don't wear this type of concealer that often, and I own a few of them, and so therefore I'm like, I don't need to repick this up at the moment. But if, like, for instance, this was the only one that was ever on the market again, I would probably go and pick up like 2 instead of like 3. This is just ever so slightly a little yellow on me, and I think looking in the viewfinder today, it's not overly noticeable. In real life it's not overly noticeable, but I definitely think I was a better shade match for like 2. And talking of a dupe for this, again, I don't think there's an exact match for it, but this old one, look at it, it's half empty now. The Hydrating Camo Concealer from e.l.f. I have this in light peach. I think it's really good as a dupe. Even like the doe foot is massive, like this one. I just think, obviously the packaging and stuff like that is not as luxe. However, I do think this does a very good job of the same thing I've just described. If you're wanting more of a concealer come foundation and just wanting to give a bit more coverage, but you don't want full-blown foundation, this does a really good job of that too. And because it is the hydrating version, I do not like the original Camo concealer, it does a really good job for people with dry skin as well. I really rate this. I think it's really nice. It is a fraction of the price. Is it exactly the same? No, of course not. But I feel like you can get a similar look or a similar job done with these products. Now let's move on to eyes. I'm going to speak about one of the eye wands. I only own one of these, and it is in mahogany. Now it is a really beautiful, like dark brown, almost got undertones of a little bit of plum to it. It's just a beautiful kind of really rich brown colour. I think they do one like called Cocoa or Espresso or something as well, which is a much more cool toned brown, I would say. This has a little bit of warmth to it, a little bit more plummy undertone to it. I have to say I am not super enamoured with these with regards to the matte ones. I think they're nice, and as I've used it over the time that I've had it, I've learned how to work with it. I think it is just because it's a matte formula, it's a little bit more difficult to work with than that of like a shimmery eye pencil like this. I don't think that stands alone with Vieve. I think a lot of matte products are just a little bit more difficult to blend than the shimmery version of them, and that just is without saying because it is an easier product to manipulate. I have used this time and time again. I continue to use it, but that's why I never went back and bought any more, because I just was a little bit like, yeah, it's nice and it's really nice for like a dark smoky eye and all that kind of stuff, but I just feel like even the ones that are in the lighter tones, I have other matte cream products that do a better job, whether it's a liquid eyeshadow or a cream eyeshadow. I just have ones that do a kind of better job and they blend out a little bit easier. I find this quite stiff. However, I've spoke to people who do have other colours of this and they do not find that at all. So maybe it's just to do with the pigmentation in this darker one that makes it a little bit more patchy. I find like you have to work quite quickly with it as well. And again, that might just be because of the tone of it, because it is darker. If you are looking for dupes of this, I know they do shimmer versions of these as well. I think a good matte eye crayon and a good matte cream shadow is quite difficult to find in the budget range. I think e.l.f. have started doing them, although the other day I looked at the colour range of them. They do them in little pots and they do them in crayons, pencils. And I feel like the colour range is not quite as refined, again, as the higher end brands. Laura Mercier is obviously like the originator of this style of product, and I think they are absolutely gorgeous. My mum actually ended up buying, what was it called? Sepia? Was it sepia? I can't remember. She bought it for her wedding the other week, and it was a matte one, and she blended it out on the corners and then she put some beautiful like gold through the middle. It looked lovely, and I think you are going to get a slightly better quality of product, especially in the matte range with the higher end products. However, if you are looking for a dupe to the shimmer ones, Kiko Milano, even e.l.f., there are so many other dupeable budget brands that will do exactly the same as Laura Mercier, Vieve, etc, etc. Now I've just kind of put this one on here. As you can see, it's that kind of old gold colour. Can I bring it closer? There we are. And that is from Kiko. It blends out beautifully. It probably owned this way past the time it's supposed to. It's still good. It works fantastically. These are easily duped from budget brands. So if you're feeling like, do I want a Vieve one? Go and check out these ones like e.l.f. I'm sure other brands like maybe, is it NYX, or am I thinking like old school like Maybelline? I feel there's so many brands out there that do a shimmery version of this kind of a pencil that are easily dupeable. and just as good. Now, I kind of touched on eyeshadows, as I have said already. I own the Essentials palette, which is the original palette that Vieve came out with. It is a very warm toned palette. But as I was saying, so if you bought Noir, we've got a nice light colour right here, cream colour. We've got a brown, we've got a black. We're just missing that kind of cool toned, sparkly silver, aren't we? So, and then Burn, again, as I say, there's the orange here. Terra, there's like these three kind of more warm toned browns. You know, I just feel like they're just all there. They're just all there. I just didn't feel like I needed them. The only one that probably isn't dupeable or matchable to this would be the Lure one, which is the pink tones. But as I said, I just don't need that. And that is probably more dupeable to that of the Muse palette that she released with all these kind of nice romantic pink colours. But as I say, not my thing. The 90s palette that she brought out, this is like the cool toned version. It looks exactly like this, but it's much more cool toned. Again, I just didn't feel I needed it. It's a lovely palette. There's one in it that's called Acid Wash, I think. It's a beautiful shimmer. It's so, so nice. But I just don't wear cool tones enough to justify buying that palette. It wouldn't be utilised enough. If you are a cool tone wearer and you never really wear warm tones, then go with the 90s palette, because it's probably going to be much more used. What I will say is though, with regards to the quality of the shadows, I really like them. I find them very, very easy to use. I think that they're shadows that, I think for a while in the 2010s, we were like swirl, 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 and we would plap it all in our eyes. Do you know what I mean? And it was in your face. I think now we've come out of that a little bit. It's a little bit softer. Like today I've got a lot of eyeshadow on, but it's still kind of soft. And I feel like with these ones, you can achieve that. It's like you can have a really soft wash of colour, or you can build them up to be really, really intense. It's not one or the other. So I feel like when this first launched, I'd seen a few people being a bit like, oh, they're kind of chalky. They don't really do what they do. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't think they're trying to be like super pigmented from the get-go, and I think I like that, because I would prefer to wear something that is buildable rather than wearing something that is too in your face and then you're working to get the blend on it. That's just too much faff for me. The only thing I will say is the shimmers, there's 3 in here, Glimmer, Carrot and Thea. I could take or leave them. I don't think the shimmers are the big things in these palettes. I've got Glimmer on today across the orange one, and it looks really nice, but the shimmers are not the selling point of the palette. I think that the mattes are much more standout in comparison to the shimmers. So if you're somebody who loves like a shimmer, that really like buttery, soft, shimmery look, then that isn't going to be this. That is not going to be this. However, I love the mattes. The mattes are amazing, and I use this like year round. I love it. I would say year round. Probably not in the summer, but this time of year it gets pulled out, September, and I will wear it right through until about March. Start of March, end of February, I'll still be wearing this, because it is very much my tones for this time of year. What I am going to just touch on quickly before I move on to lips is the brushes, because I had already spoke about these. As I said, when these launched, I was like, how much? How much, Jamie? Now, I know there's a lot of people who will be like, oh, they're really, really good quality. They're made by Smith brushes, blah, blah, blah. They're like the top of the top for makeup artists, all this kind of thing. Like, okay, that's fine. Like, I get your point. It's a very valid point. I'm not disagreeing with it. However, the point I was making was when she launched it as a set, you can buy them individually as well, it was like £250. £250, and I was like, whoa. Like, I know she has like, she's got a really wide age range in her audience, but I know there's a young audience, and that is a lot of money to drop. A lot of money to drop on a set of brushes. I think it was 12 brushes. Don't quote me on that, because I might have got that wrong, but it was like a lot of money for what you were getting. And personally, I bought 2 of them because I thought, let me fucking see what these magic brushes are doing then. They are nice brushes. I'm not going to deny that. They are very nice brushes. However, the eye brush, like I just brought the standard one, what's it called? Large eyeshadow blender. There's probably a smaller one as well. This is really large. This is really, really big. This is one that I would just do a big wash of colour. You can't really do much detailed work with this. I don't actually use it that often. I have other brushes that I prefer. And this one here, this is the blush and bronze brush. Very, very nice brush again. However, I'm going to stand by what I said. Do these brushes do anything that the other brushes that I own don't do? No, absolutely not. So I bought the Spectrum set from Katie Jane Hughes, and then actually bought an additional set to that because I love those brushes. Are they better quality than these ones? No, probably not. I think that these ones might be a little bit more robust, but I feel like there's more variety in that set. I feel like they've got the nice white bristles and all that kind of stuff. These are going to stain, as you can see here. They are going to stain regardless of how often you are washing them, especially depending on what you're using. Any white brushes, if you're using a pigment that is just going to stain, like purples, sometimes aqua blues and stuff like that, they're going to stain. Like, it doesn't matter how many times you wash them, it's still going to stain them. So keep that in mind as well. If you are using just kind of more neutral tones, which is probably what I've done with this one is actually in really good nick. It's hardly got any staining on it. This one here, as you can see, has that Malbec blush on it, and yeah, it probably will stain. But I just feel like I have brushes from LARAFAYE which are so much more affordable and very, very good quality, and they do everything I need them to do. I am not a makeup artist, so maybe I feel a little bit different, but I'm sure there's makeup artists out there who are like, yeah, I don't need £200.50 brush set. I know back in the day when everybody was like, oh, you've got to have like a MAC 216 or whatever the fuck it was. You know, like, I get it. It's all about like prestige. Personally, do I think you need these brushes? No. I think you just buy a set of brushes that you enjoy. If you like them, buy a couple of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, not even a set. If you buy an eye brush that you like, go and buy 2 of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't think these are justified still. I'm going to stand by that. I do think they are nice brushes, but I would never buy the set, and I won't buy any more. Let's just talk about lashes first. This is a new release from them. This is the Vieve Modern Mascara. I did speak about this in a very recent video. You can see me trying it on and all that kind of stuff. I've got it on today as well. I'm still kind of on the fence about this. I don't want to say like this is a must-have. It's quite an expensive mascara, and I am an absolute mascara junkie. That is my desert island product. But it means that there are lots and lots of drugstore and much more affordable mascaras that I would recommend to you before this. Any of them, to be honest with you, just because of the price difference. Because I feel like I'm someone who's got a decent lash, right? I've not got amazing lashes, but they're not really short and they're not really straight. And I feel like as long as I've got a decent lash, then mascara is going to look different on you than it is the people who don't. My friend Laurie says that she has no lashes. She usually always will wear a false lash, and she loves this stuff. And I'm like, okay, fine, that's great. But I just feel like I can get the same ability from a drugstore mascara. One of my favourite mascaras I'm using at the moment is Tower 28. So again, in a slightly higher price range, but it is just full on, and I love it. And I will be buying another one of it. Again, in that higher price range, the Lash Idol from Lancome is absolutely beautiful. So I'm not saying I don't buy high-end mascaras. I absolutely do. But Maybelline Sky High, it's a classic. It costs you like £9 to £11 or something like that. I just think there are other, I mean, what as well, the Oma by Sharon C Badder Boom Mascara, brilliant, costs you £8. I just think there are lots and lots of drugstore mascaras that do what I need them to do. And therefore, I understand the price of this. The component is very glossy, it's lovely, it's heavy, it's weighty, it feels luxurious. I get all that. What I will say as well is there is no fall down with this mascara. I have wore it to work. I have wore it on a 12.5-hour shift. It's fabulous. No fall down. And that is something that I experience quite a lot, and I have to give it its due with that. However, I don't know how I feel about it. It's good. It's good. I feel like it's just a bit more of an everyday mascara. It's not giving me that boom that like the Tower 28 one does, or the Badder Boom, or even the Sky High. Like, I feel like there's just a little something that they're giving me that this one doesn't. I feel like I can put this on and it just looks very soft and nothing, but I can build a few layers of it and it starts to look very nice, like it's on today. It's got a little bit of oomph to it. It's definitely an everyday mascara. I feel like if it was a little bit more like, oh, here's like full in your face mascara in this gorgeous sexy gold packet, it's as if what's in here doesn't match the outside. Is that what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm on the fence. I don't dislike it. I think it's a nice mascara. Do I think it's worth it though? Like, you're not going to ever get me to say like a mascara 25 quid or 22 quid, whatever it is better than a drugstore one, because I think they are just so up here now and for such a lesser price. So give or take it, see how you feel. I'm not saying don't buy it. I think it is a nice mascara. I think if you want a bougie mascara and you want something that looks really, really beautiful, go for it. but I'm on the fence still. I can't give you an answer yet. And as I said, let's talk lashes. They do lashes as well. They do. This is the Whisper, the HL3, because it is a half lash. This is not a full lash. I very, very rarely wear lashes nowadays. This pair here is pretty much like this and a pair of Ardell Demi Wispies I think I've got. They probably need the bin. I don't wear them often enough to justify buying them all the time. I think you could probably just dupe these at the drugstore, get yourself a half lash. You don't need to buy the Vieve ones. They are nice, and I've probably worn these maybe like 8 times now, and I think they're still in pretty good nick, to be honest with you. Like, I could probably give them a little wash down and they'd be absolutely fine, which shows a bit more durability maybe, but you don't need the Vieve ones. You really don't. You just get ones out the drugstore. It's fine. And as I said, I was going to talk to you about the Power Ink liner. Again, I have spoke about this in other videos, so I'm not going to go into too much about it, but for me, I showed it in the last video as well, so that's why I can't show you because I've got rid of it now. There's like a double click to it, right? So it's like you put it on and then you have to click back on to make sure it doesn't dry out and stuff like that. However, what I always found when I was using it was, and it was like a brush, it's not a felt tip pen, it's a brush pen. I would put on one side my liner, no problem, give a little shake, do whatever I want. By the time I was going to the other eye, this eye was always so much more difficult to get on. It was as if it is drying out as you use it. And you can store it upside down and you can like keep it as tightly shut as you can. It happened every bloody time. And it is an expensive eyeliner. It's like 22 quid or something. And I'm just like, no. You can buy better at the drugstore. I would not recommend it. I think it looks lovely when it's finished, but just with it only working halfway through every fucking time that I used it practically, I was like, no, just no. Obviously you can put the lid back on, shake it up and get it to work. It just was a faff. It was just an absolute faff. So this from Revolution, I think this is called a Renaissance eyeliner. It has been about 4 years. I have spoken about it on this channel several times. If you like a winged eyeliner, again, winged eyeliner is not like black winged eyeliner. It's not something I'm doing every day of the week now. I actually prefer a coloured eyeliner, but this is a classic. It's great. It costs a £5. I think it's still a £5. It's so cheap. It does have a felt tip nib, just in case. It's not exactly the same as the Vieve one, but personally, I just think buy yourself this, save yourself the drama. I don't think the Vieve one is worth it. And moving on to lips finally, because they have matte lipsticks. They now have the new what are they called, satin slip, is that what they're called? I don't remember. And also they have glosses and lip liners. Now I only have 2 lip liners. One of the ones I have on today is Rouge Rouge, which is a much more kind of deep plummy wine colour, or berry colour, let's say that. And I have Rumour, which is like a kind of more warm toned 90s brown. It's not a cool toned 90s brown, but it's still 90s brown with a little bit of warmth to it. Now again, if you did watch my very first impressions of Vieve, I was like, this lip liner is kind of dry. I don't love it. It's not my cup of tea. But now, as you can see, so this is obviously the one I've owned a little bit longer, you can see how much I've got through of Rumour. Like, I've used it loads. And as it started to warm up and the more I tried to use it, it really became a favourite lip liner for me, I'm not going to lie. I use it with so many colours. I can use it with like a more pale nude colour and really buff it out. I wear it with red lipstick and it looks amazing, especially with the Vieve Muse, the red one from them. I think it is a brilliant lip liner. I was maybe a little too judgmental, my snap decision and first impressions, and that's really important to say, because I think sometimes people will be like, well, they said it's shit, must be shit. People are allowed to change their mind on things, and I have to say, I actually really do quite like the lip liners. What I also am going to say though, and I spoke to a couple other people about this who had similar feelings, that the Rouge Rouge one, which is the berry one, is much softer. Even on first application, even when I very first bought it, it was so much softer. So maybe again it was just the pigmentation of the Rumour one. I don't know. It is fine now, but initially I was just like, that's a little scratchy. And the Rouge Rouge one from the get-go, I really, really enjoyed. It's not taken a while for me to get into it. I think they're very nice. I do rate them. Can you get dupes of these? I really, really like the Rimmel Lasting Finish 8-hour ones. My favourite one is Spice. I think it's so good. I think you probably can get a lot of lip liners that dupe the style of this, but I think they're really nice as well. So it depends on what you're looking for, but there is probably a lot of dupes for lip liners out there. I think I've seen somebody talking about bourgeois ones lately, and Barry M. I think I've seen Taylor talking about the Barry M ones, saying that they're absolutely amazing. So talking of the lipsticks, this is the Modern Matte lipsticks. I have 5 of them. I think that's enough to tell you that I like them. I really, really, really like them. Today I have got Lara on. The only thing I'm going to say about these is, again, I found this with a few things from Vieve. This isn't the first one. I feel like the colour on the site and on the models that they use comes off completely different. And I obviously just have a different skin tone from them. But it's amazing how different it looks on different skin tones. Lara on me, as you can see, is very, very vampy. Very, very to the point of almost being a little bit gothy. Bite is a lot darker. But this is like not red. It's a very, very deep autumnal plum colour. And I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. However, I feel like on the Vieve website, I'm just going to put it here, website, Instagram, right? When they first launched this straight up looked like a red on their models. It looked like a red. And I have seen other people wear it in their Instagram photos, in real life, things like that. And I'm like, that is a completely different colour on you. I've had people who said to me that they also bought it and it looks a lot more like this on them and they didn't like that vampy look. Like, that is not what they expected. So just be aware of that. If you can get yourself to a shop where they're selling Vieve, I would highly recommend that because it is very, very different from what is on their page. Very, very different. Power Suit was the very first one that I bought. This one is a beautiful like chocolate orange brown. It's definitely brown, but it's like this chocolatey orange colour. It's gorgeous. And I equally really, really enjoy that one at this time of year. I also have Muse, which is the red, which is just stunning. Absolutely stunning. One of my favourite red lipsticks. And this one here is Pinch. Now, Pinch, I hate. I hate, and for the same reason, I do not like Lara. And I'm saying that, I love Lara. Look at it, it's gorgeous. But I liked the colour this came out of my lips. I thought, okay, it's not like what I've seen on the site at all, but I love this. This is gorgeous. This is very me. Pinch, I thought was going to be a beautiful kind of soft, peachy, almost like coral toned lip. On me, I look like a corpse. On me, this does not suit me. I hate it. I actually passed it on to a friend who she gave me it back for this video. I just, yeah, it ain't me. It's too cool toned. It's too matte. It looks like concealer lips. Does not suit me whatsoever. So again, go and check them out in store if you can. I know it was difficult at first because they were only online, but now if you can go and check these out, I would highly recommend to do that with regards to the colours. And I also have this one, which is the limited edition one, and it's like a leopard print case. It's gorgeous. I think they've done 3 of these, and I bought Bite, which again, I feel like when you look at Bite, you would think that's what I've got on my lips, but Bite is actually a lot darker. Like, it's kind of that espresso colour, almost like a little bit cooler toned brown. It's not cool toned, but it is certainly not as warm. See there? That's it there. And you could be forgiven to think that might be what I've got on my lips. Let me just show you Lara next to it. Lara is definitely much more plummy. You see it here? That's what's on my lips now. And even on the back of my hand, look at the difference. You'd think I'd mixed the two together because on my mouth, that looks really, really deep. But Bite is really, really dark. But again, the goth in me fucking loves that. Now, with regards to staying power, I love these lipsticks. I think they're fantastic. They are so, so nice. They are very comfortable. They are matte, but they don't get all dry and crusty. They go on again over the top of what you've already got beautifully. And is there a dupe for them? That is another question. I don't think there's an exact dupe, but I do think that the e.l.f. O-Face lipsticks are a pretty good, like, dupe in the purest sense of the word. Like, they're not exact, but they could be cousins. I think they're really good. I think this one is called Standing Ovation. It's lovely. And this one here is No Regrets, which is the red one. So actually, let me just put that one and Muse next to each other. I think that the O-Face one is a little bit more, just ever so slightly sheeny. It's got a little bit more of a satin to it. But I feel like the Modern Matte lipsticks from Vieve are not totally matte. On my lips now it looks matte, but they've got a little bit of a satin hint to them, which is really, really nice. There we are. That's them together. The lighter one here that's got a little bit more of a sheen to it is the e.l.f. and Muse here, which is a little bit more of a true red, I would say. But they're similar. They're dupables, but the Vieve one is better. Now I'm just going to squeeze this in at the end here. The glosses. I have got Pesca, and then I've got this little like limited edition sparkly one that I got in a set. It's a gloss. I picked this one up out my thing. This is a plumping gloss from Primark. Really, like, give or take it. The thing is with the glosses as well, like, they come in different colours. I don't think it fucking matters. I really don't. I know that sounds awful, but I just, they all look the fucking same to me. They all look exactly the same. They're nice, they're okay. They are on the sticky side as well, that's another thing. I think they're like a lip dew, a glossy lip oil it says. These are not a lip oil, these are a gloss. These are definitely a gloss, there's nothing oil about them. But yeah, that's why I only own one, because I wouldn't buy any more. I don't see any point, one will do you. And the latest lip product from them, the Satin Slip lipstick. Again, I spoke about this in a video pretty recently. I have got Kink, which is a kind of more deeper, again, like 90s brown colour. And that is it there. These are much more like that balmy lipstick, but I do enjoy these. I think these have got just a little bit more something than other ones, but it's almost like they feel more like a lipstick than a balm. And if that's what you want, that's great. But I'm kind of like, I thought these would be a little bit more soft and creamy. Somebody actually asked me, are they similar to the Rare Beauty ones? I would say no. The Rare Beauty ones are really, really like slippery, like to the point it feels like you've ate a greasy sandwich. I think I've spoke about that before. I don't love these. I prefer the Vieve. However, I do not think either of them are a patch on the Glossier Ultra Lips. For me, the Glossier Ultra Lips are just the perfect in between. They've got colour, they've got balm, they've got staying power, they go on easily, like you can put them on without a mirror, but they do have a little bit more sheen. Do you see there? That's the Vieve one and then that's the Glossier one. But I prefer it. I just prefer it. It feels more like a really comfortable everyday product, balmy product, but still got the staying power, whereas this one feels oily, whereas the Vieve one I feel just feels a little more like a lipstick. I don't dislike them. I think it's definitely, if that's what you're going for, then great. And again, I would say go and check the colours out, because as I say, I have Kink, and on me this looks like a kind of deep 90s brown colour, and I see Nida wearing this over on Instagram, who has deeper skin tone than me. She's got kind of like olivey Asian skin tone, and on her this looks a completely different colour, completely different. So yeah, just make sure you're checking out the colours if you're trying any of the lip products out from Vieve. But personally, I just kind of love the Glossy Ultra Lips. I was trying to think if there was more dupeable, affordable things from brands. I can't say there's definitely one that I love yet, but what I will say is that the Oma by Sharon C, they do these, which is the Lips Don't Lie Sheer. They're just like balmy lip gloss things, but again, there's not a lot of pigment in these, and they've got a little bit of a hinty mint to them, but there's not a lot of pigment. And then I have this one from Catrice, which is the Powerful 5 Lip Care. It's got hyaluronic acid, watermelon, all this other kind of stuff in it. This is in Sparkling Guava. This is a really nice option actually. This is really good if you can get your hands on Catrice. It does have a little hint of a tint to it. That is it there. But still nice and balmy. Do I think that the kind of budget brands are nailing any of this yet with regards to that balmy lipstick? Maybe not, but please tell me down below if you've got any recommendations, that if any brands are nailing that, because I would really like to know if there's a more affordable option. I even pulled out this one, which is from Kiko, but it's so old now. I definitely should throw this away. And this is their coloured balm, their lip balm, and as you can see there, that is it on the end. And I think these are really good. So if Kiko still do these, then I would highly recommend these. They are a little bit more sheeny, probably a little bit more like the Glossy Ultra Lips than the Vieve one. But do I think there's a dupe for them? Not quite yet. Not quite yet. And with that, I think that is me covered everything, and my battery is flashing, so I need to hurry up and finish this video. Please let me know down below if you've tried any of the Vieve stuff, what you thought of it, and are you going to pick any of it up? Do you think any of these dupes are just as good, or will you go and try them? And if you know of any better dupes, then let me know. And I will see you all again in the next one. Bye.